Ladies and gentlemen, the meeting of the Wadsworth Planning Commission will please come to order. The first item on our agenda is public participation, and I think the only people in the audience are applicants for the items further on our agenda, so I'll move on with the agenda. The next item are the minutes of the October 13th and November 10th meetings, which will be distributed at a future date. Second item is the minutes of the November 24th meeting. Commissioners, are there any additions or corrections? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes of the November 24th, 2025 meeting as presented.
Second.
You heard the motion and the second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under old business, first item is a planned unit development, Shadow Creek PUD, city lots 10-232 and 10-235 Reimer Road in the LDR and R1 zoning districts. Mr. Kaiser.
Yeah, nothing new to add tonight. I did speak with the city engineer yesterday, and I think they have spoken to the applicant. They're pretty much ready to move on. So I think for our next meeting, we'll be able to address this. I'm waiting for comments back from the engineering department. We'll put together a set of recommendations.
All right. Have a motion to table.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Planning Commission table the zoning amendment creating Shadow Creek planned unit development until such time as the engineer has reached agreement with the applicant.
Second.
Heard the motion and the second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under new business, first item is a final plat, Briarthorn Condominium, Phase B, replat number 1, the R1 Residential District, J. Josh Land LLC applicant. Mr. Kaiser.
Okay, this plat does create 9 freehold condominium or cluster lots, as well as a private street, which I think is now called Redbud Lane. And this all takes place on Wadsworth City Lot 9627, which is on the south side of Briarthorn Crescent. This, I think, street was originally identified as Roses Run, but I believe that's been changed. Just to give you a brief history of this, originally, the Phase B of the subdivision would consist of 12 condominium building sites. These 9 that were on the south side of the street and 3 more on the north side of the street, as was shown on the opening page of your staff report. Ultimately, though, this lot, 9627, was excluded from the Phase B final plat because of potential mine issues that were uncovered. And it did impact, I think, between 3 to 5 or more of the lots here on the northeast side of the subdivision. So what happened is Phase B went through. It was approved in March of 2025 for just the 3 lots on the north side, which are accessed by Briarthorn Way. And then the applicant spent the intermediate time or the intervening time undertaking stabilization measures. I think you got a copy of the most recent mine report from Wirtz Geotech. And over the summer, an excavating company was hired to fill in the mine voids, and that took place, I think it was completed here sometime in September, very early October. The staff report, or the report from the mine, the Geotech does indicate it's basically a report of all their inspection activities, and ultimately they concluded that based on the work that was done, the building sites are reasonably safe for residential development. So that's what brings us back to this point, is that now the applicant would like to plant these to create the building pads where the condo or cluster homes would go. I think the report did indicate that there might still be some mine voids under Redbud Lane, which is a private street. They've indicated that really to try and fully grout that would be extremely cost prohibitive. They just suggested that if voids appear, if they get any sinkholes, that they fill those as needed. They've also noted that a lot of the roadways, whether they're public or private in this region, have been built over abandoned coal mines, and the incidence of subsidence is relatively rare. It does happen. We've had some issues with some parking lots, obviously up on Reimer Road. But I think the applicants adequately addressed the mine issues and taken the steps to make the sites about as secure from subsidence as can be done. Again, with respect to the mines in the private streets, I would just indicate that the potential homeowners, as well as the HOAs, are made aware of the areas where there are underground mines, where and what type of mitigation has taken place, and where it has not. And again, this should be disclosed on the plat and as well as the HOA documents. There should also be a recommendation for a potential homeowner to obtain the mine subsidence insurance. Really, other than that, there's really no zoning issues with the subdivision. The layout basically complies with the general plan that was approved. I believe that was way back in 2006. One thing that I would note, and I believe I spoke to Mr. Burgoon about this, a third HOA is going to have to be created because Ohio laws state you have 7 years to build out a expandable condo and then 1 7-year extension period. This has been going on long enough that we've run out of time. Even the second HOA, the ability to join that's been limited. So a third HOA will be platted for this, as well as the upcoming plat we'll talk about here in a minute. It will still be under the Master Association. Engineering department issues were attached. I didn't see anything that was out of the ordinary that we haven't really talked about, so I would recommend that the Commission approve the final plat for Briarthorn Condos, Phase B, replat number 1, with the 5 conditions as noted in the staff report. Trying to think, yeah, everything is pretty standard. I believe they said most of the public improvements associated with are in place, just waiting final testing. So if necessary, certain financial guarantees can be posted. But overall, I think they've done what's needed to make sure that these are safe building sites.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Kaiser?
Mr. Kaiser, can I ask, just for my education, is there any history of private streets being rededicated to as city streets?
The only one that I'm aware of, believe it or not, is Park Center Boulevard. That was originally constructed as a private street. Then over time, they did petition the city, the adjacent owners. They had to make a series of improvements, and they had to spend some money to bring it up to city standards before we did that. In this particular case, I doubt if we would take over any of the streets within Briarthorn, because really they're designed, even though they're streets, they're really more of a shared driveway. So I can't see Redbud Lane or any of Idlewood, et cetera, any of the other streets within the development being accepted as part of the public system.
Great, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Kaiser? All right, the applicant?
Any questions?
You good with the conditions, staff report?
Yes.
All right. With that, is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Planning Commission approve the final plat for the Briarthorn condominiums, Phase B, replat 1, subject to the 5 staff conditions.
Second.
Heard the motion, the second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next item is a final plat for Briar Thorn Condominiums, Phase C, Residential District, Jake Josh Land, LLC applicant. Mr. Kaiser.
Okay, let me pull this drawing up. And this would be the final plat that creates it creates 33 freehold condominium / cluster lots, 3 new private streets. It also completes the last leg of Briar Thorn Way, which will make it now a complete loop, as well as the common open space associated with these units. Subdivision layout does comply with the general plan that was approved in 2006. Most of the improvements have been substantially completed, and those improvements are both public and private. I think the final coat of asphalt is going to have to go in the spring. The walking trails, the first coat of asphalt's gone in on those, so again, they will be wrapped up in spring. The majority of the improvements within the development are private. Water and sanitary sewer units will be constructed to public standards and be part of the public systems. So looking at that, just talking a little bit about the public improvements, performance bond would be required for all parts of the improvements, the public improvements, which haven't been completed, or which have been completed but not fully tested and accepted. Additionally, there are, under the subdivision regulations, a 2-year maintenance bond that have to be posted for public improvements before the plat's released. Also, there's a requirement for trench settlement bonds. Talking to the engineering department, those will not be required in this case because the trench settlement really is for the trenches that take place under the public roadways. Since we're dealing with private, that won't be required. There is one additional public improvement that needs to be installed or financially guaranteed before we release this, and that is the turn lane on Akron Road. So really a good deal of the remainder of this report deals with that. Obviously, that turn lane is not going to be constructed before this plat is issued. The improvement plans do need to be approved by both the city as well as ODOT because the southern half of the Akron Road right-of-way is actually under the ODOT's jurisdiction because it abuts township properties. And right now, I think city's approval is on hold. Some of the issues raised by ODOT have yet to be addressed. Once they have been and ODOT approves the plan, we're going to be able to sign off of it. So since we're at a point where construction can't commence until, one, the plans are approved by both ODOT and the city, we need some type of mechanism that's going to ensure that the monies are in place and that improvement gets done in a reasonable amount of time. And this is going to be accomplished by I believe you got a copy of it, the Site Improvement Funding and Disbursement Agreement. It's a 3-way agreement between the city, the developer's financial institution, and it ensures that funds are available to complete the turn lane if they don't do it. And the key provisions of that agreement are, again, the developer provides the money up front via an irrevocable letter of credit that can only be used for the turn lane improvements. The amount of that letter of credit is $430,000. That includes a contingency to ensure that the city, if necessary, can complete the project at prevailing wage rates, which the applicant doesn't have to do. The developer's going to be required to construct the turn lane, and the financial institution may release progress payments to the developer following a milestone schedule, which is attachment or Exhibit A to the agreement. No more than one progress payment can be requested in any 30-day period. And each payment request needs to be tied to the completion of a specific construction milestone. And those are all outlined in Exhibit A. So basically, it's the money's up front, the developer does the work. Once a certain work has been done to meet a milestone, funds associated with that milestone can be released back to the developer. And obviously, the bank will not be able to disperse any funds without a written request from the developer, verification that the milestone has been achieved, and that requires written approval by an authorized city official. So that would be the city engineer or service director, to make sure that, yeah, we're releasing funds because we've hit this goal. And another key provision is that there is a time frame associated with this. So the turn lane will need to be completed within 2 years from the date the agreement's executed. So again, the developer completes the turn lane within the 2-year time frame. Again, they'll be getting funds released to them, over that period of time. City doesn't have to do anything. They'll get all the excess monies released to them. If the developer defaults and doesn't complete the turn lane, well, then the city holds the money. We may notify the lending institution who provided the letter of credit that we're taking over, and then we would request repayment for any work we do. I don't think we're going to get to that point, but that is in place to make sure that this happens. And again, I would just point out that although it's not explicitly stated, if the applicant defaults, the city could pursue other remedies rather than take on the construction project. But I believe we've come to a pretty solid agreement where I think we can get everything done within the 2 years prescribed. So that deals with the public improvements. There are a few minor private improvements, some of which we've talked about. And I believe that they're not only covered by this agreement, because it does, the site improvement funding agreement does talk about, hey, this is set up for certain improvements, including but not limited to the design and construction of the turn lane. So we can always hold some more if there's anything left over. But I also mentioned that we're also holding funds from previous phases in the amount of $30,000 that we're going to hold on to make sure that the final coat of asphalt goes in on the roadways, the walking trail, if anything needs to be done to clean or the detention basins to make sure that they're operating fully. We have that, and I believe the Economic Development Director has prepared an amendment to the cash agreement for the monies we have on hand that has been signed by all parties. So I think we are covered there. I think with that, the engineering comments were attached. I don't think they have any issues. They just note that even though the stormwater basins are private, we typically require a public easement for inspection, as well as an agreement to make sure that they're being maintained. And provision of that is included as a condition of approval. So again, I think we're at we've got everything covered. One benefit to doing what the applicants are, which is creating a plat that creates the fee simple building lots, is we're not going to run into a problem in the future with a new HOA, because these lots are now going to be created, they're of record. Even if it takes 15 to 20 years to build out the final few homes, all of these lots are in existence. They will fall into the third HOA that we discussed in the previous report. So with that in mind, I would recommend approval of the Phase 3 final plat for Briarthorne condos with the 2 conditions as noted in the staff report.
Mr. Kaiser, this would build out Briarthorne project.
This, yes.
There's no land
This
left.
would create all of the building sites associated with the
Okay.
development.
Okay.
So,
So this is,
yeah, so after 20-some years, hopefully, no one will be back.
yeah. I'm the corporate memory on this. I was here when that started.
I think it was 92. That was well before my time, but it's been around for a while.
Yes, it has. Okay, any questions for Mr. Kaiser?
I have,
Yes.
Jeff, on page 3 of the Phase C documents, it shows some boundaries of, I think, building envelopes that intersect or cross over the line of Briarthorn Way's boundary line. I imagine that doesn't represent the actual location, but can you speak to those at all?
That was on page 3 of 7?
Yeah, it's the third page, the first actual site page, if you will. For instance, near the intersection of Burr Oak Drive and Briarthorn Way, there are several different lot layouts that building envelope layouts that show or intersect the sort of the line of the roadway edge.
I think Mr. Burgoon could speak to that clearer, but a lot of those are easements. One of them is a water line easement, and the width of the private street right-of-way is 60 feet. The setback requirements for these lots are 25 feet from the edge of pavement. So the pavement isn't going to extend to the outer edge of that easement. But I believe within the general roadway easement, we do have the easements for the water lines, and the one that has the hash marks looks to be a 20-foot sanitary easement. So are those the lines that you're talking about that are?
It's essentially the shaded
Yes.
area, which I realized represented more than just the roadway surface probably, but wanted to ask that question since it abuts the building envelope in some of those areas.
Some of the building envelopes are.
See it better here.
Yeah, do abut that.
That is right there.
against it, yeah.
Bing.
But I think as long, the roadway itself would probably follow that center line. We'd probably have about 12 to 13 feet on either side of that center line. So I think we've got, we'd have more than 20 feet or 25 feet from
See
where a building would be constructed and that edge of that pavement. Sure.
See where, right here it says.
Mr.
that's
Magoon,
the
would you like
easement,
to-
this-
The guy that
so
made the
it's really
drawings,
pretty
we'll
far
hear from
the
him.
pavement.
Joe Burgoon, Lewis Land Professionals. So all the building boxes are required to be 25 feet from the pavement.
Right.
That's the agreed upon setback from the pavement with the city. Everything, all the building boxes up against where the shaded areas, those are access and utility easements. So the pavement will be inset from that fairly far. But yeah, all of the actual building boxes will be at a minimum of 25 feet from the street pavement.
Yeah, it says the easement's 20 feet.
Are we okay with that?
I am.
Okay, all right, fine. While you're up, the conditions of approval, are those acceptable?
Yes, they are.
Any other questions for Mr. Pagoo?
I have one. So there's been much discussion about the turn lane off of Akron Road and the potential for 2 years before that building of that turn lane might occur based upon the signing of the agreement. Do you have any understanding of what the plan for that construction may or may not be at this point?
To the best of my knowledge, the plan is to build it as soon as available. The developer would have liked to have built it this year. We didn't get the plans done fast enough, and ODOT doesn't review the fastest. So the last set of review comments that we have are back at ODOT. They've told us approximately middle of December for their last review, hopefully approval. And talking to Jim Boziger with the city engineering department, he's happy. He just needs ODOT to say they're happy, and everybody's going to be approved.
So essentially, that means when asphalt plants open in the springtime, there's a likelihood that we'll have turn lane construction happening shortly thereafter.
As soon as the weather is good enough to get in there and do the excavation work and dirt work, that I would assume that's going to get done as soon as possible and get it over with.
First half of 2026.
I can't speak for the developer, but I think he wants to get it done as soon as possible.
I'm sure she does.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. McGo? No. All right, okay, thank you. All right, we have a recommendation for approval for Phase C.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Planning Commission approve the final plat for Phase C of the Briarthorn condominium, subject to the 2 staff recommendations.
Second?
You've heard the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for coming. Mr. Kaiser, that's all on our agenda other than other business. Is there any other business?
Nothing. We've got no new cases for the next meeting. I'm going to be in and out of the office over the next week or so. I'm expecting some comments from Mr. Davis regarding Shadow Creek. Once I've got them, we'll put together a staff report. So we'll either meet on, what is our next, the 22nd, either December 22nd, or possibly we'll hold a special meeting beforehand to address that. But I think those are really the last comments we were waiting for, is what impact would this have on the adjacent roadways and, future plans for, Reimer and High, as well as the pending intersection of Smoke Rise with Hartman.
So at this point, as far as you know, the only item would be on the agenda.
That's it, yeah, we haven't
Shadow Creek.
received anything new, so just kind of keep that open on the 22nd, but if possible to do this sooner and through a special meeting, we will.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions?
No other business.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned.
Jeff, I know you just handed.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.